You've only gone and downloaded a MultipleSources.net podcast. For more episodes of this show and a bunch of other content covering everything from NBA teams to professional wrestling, visit MultipleSources.net. MultipleSources.net. But wait! Act now and you too could join MultipleSources.net. Yeah, we're looking for people to do their own podcasts about different NBA teams. We're looking for blog authors, video highlight creators, basically anything you can think of to write about sports. You can kind of write or create to your heart's content. So if you want to help us and join this up-and-coming independent blog and podcast network monster, go to multiplesources.net. I'll stick something in the sidebar that says join us or something equally unfunny, so go and click on that. Join us.
Are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to It's Always Sunny in Phoenix, a weekly podcast where we keep you up to date on everything Phoenix Suns basketball. Today, we are going to talk about the NBA Finals, take a look at the number 13 pick in the draft, and then finish up with our all-time Suns draft. We're going to hold a lottery to decide who gets the first pick, and then we're going to fill out a starting five plus a sixth man consisting of our all-time favorite Phoenix Suns. I'm Charlie, and I have Mitch and David here with me today. What's up, guys?
Just trying to survive the Arizona heat.
You like that 115, 116 we've been getting?
I'm ready for it to be around November right now, so.
Yeah.
I was just saying I'm looking forward to the Summer League games, but November, that's a ways.
It's the only way for us to beat the heat.
Come live in the Grand Canyon State, and then you'll be wishing it was November as well.
Yeah. Well, the humidity hasn't hit me here yet in the Midwest, so I'm sure I'll be looking forward to the winter once that starts.
You'll be looking forward to blizzards then.
Yeah.
All right, let's hop in, talk about some NBA Finals action between the Cavaliers and Warriors. The Warriors took the first game at home, and they play again shortly after we record this episode. So let's go around, make a prediction for tonight's game, and then a prediction about how we think the series will end up. And let's start with Mitch.
So LeBron hasn't lost a game 2 in a playoff series after losing the first game in, I think, 10 games in a row.
Yeah,
But
10.
That's a lot. So I think the Cavs are going to win. It's kind of a cop-out prediction, but history tends to repeat itself. So I'm going with the Cavs in this game.
What about you, David?
I don't really know. I think that LeBron normally takes these game 2s really seriously, especially if he loses game 1s. Not that he doesn't take game 1s seriously, but that Warriors team is really good. And if someone's going to stop that 10-game streak of game 2s when LeBron loses game 1s or whatever it is, then I think the Warriors are that team.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the Warriors for this one. And the thing that stuck out to me was how they abused Kyrie Irving when he was on defense. It seemed like Livingston, Barbosa, and whoever Irving was on was getting buckets during that game. So, and all those guys, Curry, Thompson, Livingston, Barbosa, they can all get buckets. And Irving's really going to have to step up his D to help LeBron get that 11th in a row game 2 after going down 0-1. So
Yeah.
I'm leaning Warriors again, especially with how great they've been at home. But I think this series will get pretty interesting once the Cavs get it home. What do you guys think about the rest of the series?
Well, I think it was Vegas has the probability of the Warriors winning in 5 is greater than the Cavs actually winning the championship right now.
Wow.
I think is the probabilities on those in Vegas. So that is an idea of what everyone kind of thinks this series, how it's going to go.
I think one interesting thing is that in game 1, Curry and Thompson combined for 20 points, and they still won big. So it'll be interesting to see who else continues to step up besides the guys that everyone would expect to. And I've predicted multiple times that I think it'll be Warriors in 7. And I'm interested in seeing who the finals MVP is, especially if Curry and Thompson keep getting held to numbers like that.
It's got to be Iggy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could do it again. That would be impressive. But
Iggy gets to join that illustrious club of Michael Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, LeBron of back-to-back finals MVPs.
that would be
that'd be
really
hilarious.
impressive.
Steph wins enough awards as is.
That's
so
true. Yeah.
Give it to Iggy.
I'd love to see a guy like Sean Livingston win finals MVP, though.
Yeah, if Irving keeps guarding him, maybe
Yeah.
he will.
Yeah, he missed one shot in game 1? I mean,
Yeah, he's tearing it up so far this series. I really like Livingston.
Or Barbosa.
6'7". Oh yeah, Barbosa too. When I was watching that game, I was thinking, who would I rather see win a finals, Barbosa or Fry? Because I love both those guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
definitely Barbosa on my
I
end.
would pick Barbosa for sure.
Same here. Like, nothing against Fry, but I'd like to see Barbosa just get another one. Why not?
Barbosa win championship.
And then, talking about Livingston and Barbosa, Steph and Clay are going to combine for putting up 60 points or something. One of these
They
games.
will.
It's going to
Yeah,
happen.
They have to.
If it goes 7, they'll absolutely do it. So
Yeah.
If it goes 7, Clay's going to have his 11 3-quarter or 3-point quarter or whatever it is that he has like every 7 games. So
Yeah.
did you guys see the comparison of Klay Thompson's face and the PBS logo?
No.
normally I just see Squidward's house from SpongeBob. So
Yeah, but Klay Thompson side profile is pretty identical to the PBS logo. So
Huh.
check that out.
yeah, I
That's
can
funny.
definitely see that in my head.
All right, I think that's a good spot to end with the finals talk then. How about you guys?
Yeah, there's nothing else to talk about.
Yeah.
Can
We'll
we
see
go
after
back in
tonight.
time and just watch the Thunders and Warriors again?
Yep, people are calling that the championship series or the finals already. So let's just call the Warriors the champs, and
That was quite the series.
that was a good one to watch for sure. All right, let's hit that late lotto talk. And the Suns have the number 13 pick, and over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about that number 4 pick a lot. So we'll move into the late lottery and talk about that number 13. And as of late, it seems like a lot of mock drafts have been having a lot of guys rising and falling. So it's pretty tough to picture who is going to be left on the board when we do get to number 13. So, David, let's start with you. And who do you really have your eye on with that number 13 pick?
I'm not entirely sure. There are a couple of ways we could go, definitely. I think that if we go like Jaylen Brown at number 4, I think we definitely go power forward at the 13 pick, which then, in my opinion, I think you go between Deontay Davis and Henry Ellenson. I think really that just comes down to an offense versus defense from what I've seen. But if you go Dragon Bender, if you go Marquise Chris at number 4, I think that gives you a little bit more of the opportunity to go with like a Denzel Valentine at number 13, who is pretty solid all around offensively and can probably get his defense up working with PJ a little bit. So that's kind of how I see it. I think that we could easily go power forward, but I think if we go power forward with number 4, we'll go small forward number 13. If we go small forward at number 4, we'll go power forward 13.
What do you think, Mitch?
I like all of that. And it seems very unpredictable at this point. I think pretty much from now until the draft, things are just going to change a lot. And we've worked out a ton of guys, and it looks like we're going to continue doing that. All I can really think is that I trust the organization at this spot because we've drafted so many great players in this late lottery, and whoever they go with, I will be happy with. Even if it's someone that is kind of random, not really expected, I'll be fine because we've shown that we can draft really well at this position. So whoever we get, I'll be happy.
That's absolutely right. With Booker last year, Warren the year before, those guys can both fill it up and score some points in the NBA already, young in their careers. And yeah.
I'm so excited to see TJ Warren play a full season.
I've missed TJ.
I missed him so much, and we've been talking a lot about we need to draft someone at the 3, draft someone at the 4. Yeah, we need the 4 for sure, but sometimes I find myself forgetting TJ Warren because of the injury, and he's someone that really we shouldn't forget about. And whether he needs some more time coming off the bench or not, we'll see. But and we do need that depth at the 3, but TJ he's got a really great opportunity this coming season.
I think so too. And I think we've seen some tweets from TJ, excuse me, about how he just wants to ball, right? And how he's getting a little anxious to get back on the court. So I'm really excited for him. I think he should be our starter this year.
I do too.
I love TJ as well. I still don't think he's ready to start, but I'm also, I'm a little nervous and I'm a little more willing to pick up a small forward in the draft because, TJ played about the same amount of games these last 2 years when it came to seasons. He played about 40 games in each one. What if, does he get another kind of nagging injury kind of thing going on? I'm a little nervous about that. And I think that either way, Tucker has 1 year left on his contract, I believe. So going with a small forward isn't the worst idea. And I really just want to see TJ get a healthy season in.
Yes.
When it all comes down to it.
But yeah, no, going small forward I think is a good idea, but I just don't want to overlook TJ.
And hey, bringing up those nagging injuries, I'm sure we were all very worried about that with Alex Len coming into this season. He's been hurt a lot.
Right.
It seems like he couldn't stay healthy, he's having trouble with his hands, and it just seemed like everything was going wrong. But Alex Len played 78 games this season, 23 minutes per game.
But to be fair, he did have some issues with his hand still this year.
Right.
But he improved a lot. I think seeing that improvement is just such a good sign. You can take a little bit of guys making mistakes, but when you're seeing that improvement, you just have to know this is a long-term project, and seeing the improvement is good.
Exactly.
And he improved, but he was also playing pretty darn well the second half of last season.
Yeah, that's true.
So he can play, and he can play well. I know that he was on that average as the average center, which isn't necessarily an issue. But I don't think there's a question of if he can play. I think it's a question of how much better he can become.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, and I like what you guys have said about if we do draft Bender or Chris at 4, doubling up at the power forward spot. I'm not against that at all. I think that way we could bring back Mirza, probably let Lure go, and then have 2 rookies develop. Hopefully the number 4 can chip in right away, is how this plan would have to work out. But definitely some good options at 13, I assume, in the power forward position. We don't really know what the deal with Scal is from Kentucky.
No.
He's been moving around quite a bit. Maybe he slides to 13. He'd be a real nice option there. Kind of stretch it out a little bit for a 7-footer.
said before on the podcast that I think that if Scal's available when we're on the board, that we got to pick him. He's starting to get, or he has been getting during workouts, the Channing Frye comparison. He's got a ton of defensive potential just because of his length and all that. So I'm definitely on the train of, if he's available, take him. But I do have something to say about that. I think that he's more of a project, and I think that if we go with like Dragonbender at number 4, then we need to pick someone that's a little bit more of a certainty at 13, especially if we double up on power forwards. I would not be surprised if we pick Dragonbender, if we went with someone that was just a certain, this is what they're going to be. We don't have to worry about them being a project, and then at that point, I think Scal's off the table because he's definitely a project. So that's kind of just what I'm thinking. I'm not sure what you guys think, but
yeah, I think it's interesting, and I do think that the 13 pick depends a lot on the 4 pick.
Yeah, totally. And if you think about it, you could maybe say that all of these power forward players in this late lottery might be question marks, might be projects.
Right.
Because if you look at Scal, Davis from Michigan State, Ellenson out of Marquette, even Sabonis, I've seen him all over mock drafts. I've seen him top 10. I've seen him going 20th.
The thing I've seen with Sabonis that's interesting is people are thinking what you see is what you get. Like, he's not going to develop into this elite athlete or anything. He's going to be a solid rebounder and a solid low post player. He's probably not going to be able to stretch the floor a ton. And so I think he's less of a question mark, but since those things are just how he is, he might fall a little bit because of that, because he might not have as high of a ceiling.
Right. But he's only 20 years old too, so
right. I mean, he will develop a little bit, but I do kind of agree with what you see is what you get.
And I think that's that could play into Sabonis's favor, actually.
Oh, definitely.
As I was just thinking about it, if you go Dragonbender, all of a sudden, even Bryce Johnson, you could start making an argument for him at 13, while he has been as low as early second round, late first round to late lottery. I think you could definitely make an argument for him or Sabonis at that 13, but just because they're sure products right now, you kind of know what you're getting with both those guys. And if you go with someone like Dragonbender, I think that could lean towards us going with giving a look at least to either of those guys at 13.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm looking at Draft Express right now, and in their mock draft, they have Bryce Johnson going 27, one pick before us, to the Raptors. That would be a nice fit. Yeah. They could really use a guy like him and send Scola packing.
I've seen Sabonis to the Raptors too, and I think that's a really, really nice fit.
And then you look at something like NBADraft.net, who has Bryce Johnson going to us at 13 and Sabonis going at number 9 to the Raptors.
Right.
So, I mean, who knows what's going on? These guys don't. Neither do we. So it works out.
Yep, we just like talking about it.
Exactly.
Well, hey, while we're just talking about random stuff, how about the 76ers saying that Jamal Murray might be an option for the number 1 pick? Is that a smokescreen or what?
They need to stop teasing Bill Simmons.
If that were to actually happen, I would be feeling pretty salty about letting the Nets jump behind us in the standings to land that number 3. Because what if Murray goes number 1 and then Ingram ends up dropping 3 to the Celtics?
Yeah, that would be.
I would feel very angry about that, but at the same time, I would not be as angry as Sixers fans would be at Brian Colangelo. So
that's
very true.
Let's be real here. I think that's just completely a smokescreen. There's no way that Jamal Murray goes over Ben Simmons, Brandon Ingram, or even Dragonbender, in my opinion.
Right.
I mean,
I agree.
Jamal Murray, everyone's getting high on him, but he's not really necessarily a surprise. He was the main scorer. He shouldered the load at Kentucky, and I think people are thinking, well, he could be Devin Booker. Like, Devin Booker all of a sudden blew up out of nowhere. That was also because Devin Booker was a sixth man and didn't really play that many minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
He wasn't the leading scorer on Kentucky.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of funny looking at their college stats compared to each other. Jamal averaged 20 per game. I think Booker averaged 10.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds about right. And there are some similarities between those two guys, but as a Suns fan and watching Devin Booker play all of last season, like, I don't think this guy is going to be anything like Booker.
No.
I think he'll be maybe sort of the same skill set, but I don't think he has the game that Booker has.
Right.
But if the Celtics want to pick him at number 3, then they can go right ahead.
Oh, yeah.
I think this draft reminds me of I forget what year it was in the NFL, the Andrew Luck RG3 draft, where it was like those guys are going 1-2, and it's a very sure thing. And the Colts, if the Sixers take Jamal Murray, it would be like if the Colts drafted an offensive lineman instead of Andrew Luck.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
they've needed that offensive lineman since they've had Andrew Luck, so...
Right, that's true. They do need offensive line. Like, the Sixers do need a guard, but if you don't take Ben Simmons 1, what are you doing?
That's when we trade them Brandon Knight
Yep.
or Okafor.
Brandon Knight for Okafor straight up.
Just straight up.
I would be okay with that.
I would be 100% okay with that.
And I like Brandon Knight.
But I also really like Jahlil Okafor.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. As long as he can stay out of trouble.
Did you see that mix of all of his made field goals for the season?
I didn't watch it, but I was meaning to.
Dude, everyone's starting to jump on him and talk about how he's not that good, blah, 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 blah. Dude was scoring on everybody. It didn't matter who was guarding him, he was scoring on him. He can score.
We could use some scoring.
Yeah, and it'd be nice to have a back-to-the-basket post scorer who can actually get buckets at the rim.
And who wasn't 30-something years old.
Right.
Yeah.
It would be nice to see Jahlil Okafor posting up instead of Mirza.
Hey, don't talk smack against Mirza's post-ups.
A+ effort for Mirza on the low block. But
Hey, you can definitely tell that he improved in that position.
He
throughout
worked
the
on
year,
it,
though.
and I love his effort. But
Yeah,
not
he
his
was
game.
god-awful at the beginning of the year. He was just not good at the end of the year.
Oh, come on. No hesitation. He's
Hey,
he's smooth everywhere.
I'm
still
just talking
love
about in
Mirza.
the block. I don't care. He can. I don't want him to be passing out of 3-pointers. He can take those all he wants.
Yeah.
If we want to talk garbage about Mirza, I think it has to be with when he puts the ball on the floor.
Yeah.
That always
it's-
gets a little wild.
Yeah, that's
It is
something else.
quite the ride. That's why no hesitation just needs to kick in.
No hesitation. Don't
Yeah.
dribble it. Don't even think
Don't
about
think, just shoot.
it. Don't
Fling it.
think, just do.
Okay, so anything else you guys want to talk about with this 13 pick or the draft in general?
Yeah, so what happens when Buddy goes number 1?
Ooh.
You answer that. You're the big Buddy
Yeah.
fan.
Oh
here.
my
What
goodness.
would happen?
It would just be what should happen. Let's be real here.
The Sixers would be
I don't
contenders
know.
from that moment on?
From
or
that
what?
moment on, he's the next coming of everything. Of everything.
The next coming of everything.
The next coming of everything. It's tough when you're just the greatest player that's ever played ever. I mean,
That is very bold.
He's like a combination of Michael Jordan and Tony Allen. Just the offense is there, the defense is there.
don't
he's-
get.
he's just-
I mean, I'm on the Buddy bandwagon, but let's.
Oh, I was just trying to help you out and move this along.
Yeah, maybe we should take him at 4. Oh, but he won't be available because the Sixers
No,
are
he's
taking
going to
him.
the Sixers.
Okay, real talk. How mad would you be if we took Buddy at 4?
I don't think I would be super happy.
The only way I see us taking a pure shooting guard at number 4 is if we move Brandon Knight.
Yeah, that's true.
So in that situation, I'd get over it.
That might be my dream, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd love that.
What?
You would
Okay.
love that.
Wild situation. Somehow we move. Don't hate me. We move both Brandon Knight and Eric Bledsoe and draft Buddy Hield. And
I don't know about
what we
that.
get in
I
return.
think Bledsoe and Buddy could be pretty good backcourt.
But what
mates
if we
when
want? What if
he
we want
comes
our
off the bench as
backcourt?
the 6th man?
Yeah. What if we want our backcourt to be Buddy Hield and Devin Booker starting?
Well,
Convert
then
one of
we
them into a point
completely
guard.
throw out defense even more than when we had D'Antoni as our coach. But
Yep, and then we put Warren at small forward, undoubtedly, because he can fill it up and doesn't play much defense.
Yep,
Mirza
I
at
like
power forward.
I like it.
And then who do we put at center, though?
I was actually going to say put Alex Len at power
Len.
forward and then Mirza
Oh.
at center. So
Ooh. Okay. Yeah, I like it.
As long as we get to see Mirza tip it off, jump ball.
Oh my gosh. Oh, they need to do that. Oh, I wish we would have done that a little bit last season when games were just being tanked.
Well, we had to keep Mirza coming off the bench to get that 3-point
For the record. Yeah.
Do you think that's the only reason why he didn't start?
no, the only reason he didn't start is because if he would have not been on the bench, we literally would have had no scoring on the bench.
That's true. Ronnie
And-
Price can't put up 20 a game.
No.
And we wouldn't have been able to do the horribly inefficient Twin Towers lineup.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fun while it lasted. I'm glad that season's over with, though.
Yeah,
Wow.
me too. I can't wait for Summer League.
Yeah, that's coming up soon. Just a couple, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
Let's
a
get to
month?
the draft first
about a
before
month?
we start talking about Summer League.
Well, okay, I am excited for the draft, but I will not be able to view it live, unfortunately.
Wah, wah. Loser.
Loser.
Oh, well.
Loser.
Okay, well, let's call it done with the draft.
Speaking of losers.
What?
What?
Is that
the
an introduction for me?
No, that was the segue. That was the segue to
Oh.
our next segment.
Oh.
Speaking of losers, we're going to talk about our favorite Suns. That doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Never
Yeah.
mind.
Okay.
That was cold. I mean, I know we've never won a championship, but geez.
No, we can't do that. All right. Let's start fresh. And I'll just read what I have written down. How does that sound?
That sounds even better.
Okay, now it's time to kick back and have some fun and start our all-time Suns draft.
Oh, I like it.
All right. David came up with this idea last week, and we've all been pretty excited for this one. So, first of all, Mitch is going to hold a live, exclusive to this podcast, on-air, 3-team draft lottery to decide who gets the first pick.
Okay, so here's how I'm going to do it. We're all equal in this because we have no knowledge of the previous season. So I'm on a great site called random.org. You can type in a minimum number and a maximum number and generate a number between them, and it's completely random. Before this, we each picked a number between 1 and 3, and you're going to have to remind me which ones you picked.
I'm 2.
I picked 4.
Oh, 4. Okay.
And by
great.
4, I
Well,
mean 3.
Okay. And I wanted 1 anyway, so it was really funny that neither of you picked it. Okay, anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to generate one number, and that will be for the first pick. And then I'll generate another one, and that will be the second pick. And then the third pick will be what's ever left. So here, between 1 and 3, generate 2 gets the first pick. And again, 3 gets the second. So it'll be Charlie, David, and then me.
Oh.
Dang it. I did
makes
not
me
Tell
want
sad.
this draft, this lottery was not rigged.
I really wanted to go first.
I wanted to go first, too. Dang it.
Well, I know you guys are probably up between 2 players for your number 1 pick, so maybe you will get who you
Oh,
actually
there's
like.
only one guy I want at 1.
Oh.
I have a feeling that out of the 2 people that could have gone number one and meet with me second, I would have wanted Mitch to go number one and not Chuck
Probably.
in front of me. So
Probably.
All right, and before we get carried away here, we're going to draft a starting five and hopefully somewhat position friendly. But it's not against the spirit of the Phoenix Suns to run a all 5 guard lineup. So if you want to, you can. But
you can do whatever.
yeah, you do whatever.
The rules are
And
made
then
up
we
and the points don't matter.
Whose line?
Yep.
All right, and then we'll get a 6th man too to fill out the end of our roster, and then after this, we'll talk about our rosters and say why ours are the best and why Mitch's are the worst.
Great.
Okay, so am I on the clock?
You are
Yes.
on the clock. You have 30 seconds.
We're going to go with the old NFL rules. Actually, you have 10 minutes.
Oh,
Minutes? All right. Be right back.
So me and Mitch are just going to talk during that 10 minutes, and we'll have an extra long podcast because we'll have 10 minutes to make a decision because we're terrible at coming up with times. Anyway,
It's going to be a 6-hour podcast.
Dun 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 dun.
I think it'd only be like
The
3.5
pick is in.
hours, but uh-oh.
Maybe we should do like the NFL does and make it a 3-day experience.
We should make it like the
2
NFL
days,
does or like ESPN and just talk while the pick is like coming up and just not caring about like anything else. And then when the 4th pick is in, or the 3rd pick is in, sorry, and the Chargers are up and then they go to commercials. So that way you just don't see the Chargers pick.
Yeah.
So,
it was-
and if we were to hold true to this, we forgot to boo Mitch.
oh,
as
right.
the-
Oh, yeah. You forgot to boo me during the
Yeah.
lottery.
I forgot that he was the commissioner, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't even realize I was. Jeez.
All right. So I'm going to go with Sir Charles as my number 1 pick, no doubt.
and that's why I wanted Mitch to go first.
That is not who I would have taken.
Barkley, 20 as a Sun, 23 points per game, 11.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists. You got to take Sir Charles number 1. Glad I got the pick. David, you're up.
All right, I have 10 minutes, right?
Yep.
Oh man, I'm gonna milk this. So
Don't do it. Just end the pain now.
do 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 do. I
He's gonna
am
do the whole
picking
thing.
Steve Nash because that is not. Wait, I'm picking Steve Nash because Chuck picked Chuck. Is what I meant to say. Whatever. Steve Nash. That's how it is. I mean,
For anyone who doesn't know, Steve Nash is my all-time favorite basketball player ever. So I really wanted him.
I'm not gonna say that he's not. He is the reason why I fell in love with the Suns. He is the reason why a lot of things. I would have picked Chuck first just because Chuck is, in my opinion, just a better player. But I love Nash, and I mean his averages while with the Suns were great. In that stretch of where if the 7 seconds or less era, he averaged 10 assists or over 10 assists. He scored a bunch. He was in the 50-40-90 club. He was almost a career 50-40-90 from just all around. Nash is one of the greatest point guards ever, and I'll be happy to take him.
Okay. So with the 3rd pick, I am going to take Kevin Johnson. Another Suns legend. Another guard. He had a pretty long career from, let's see here, looks like 88 until 2000. Played till he was 33. Put up really good numbers. So Kevin Johnson for me.
Good call. And we are all going to get good point guards in this draft. That's one thing
That's without a doubt.
we can rely on as Suns fans. Good point guards.
So should we do the draft as linear or as a snake? Like 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, or just 1, 2, 3.
Let's do
1,
a
2, 3?
snake.
We should have just said snake.
We're
I'm
just
okay with that.
changing everything up right now. So
Okay.
Oh, my plan is ruined now.
Well, we can go linear.
No. Well, for fairness, we'll go snake.
Okay.
You go again.
If I'm
Mitch.
going again, I'm going to take my second favorite son of all time in Amari Stoudemire in his prime.
Ah, ruined.
Sorry.
That's a good pick, though.
That is the perfect scenario, Mitch, because that's exactly who I wanted you to take. Because I'm taking Sean Marion.
Oh,
One of, in my opinion, actually not one of, but the best Suns defender of all time. And he could play small ball 4. In today's age, there's not really a center that he couldn't guard, except for maybe Boogie and Andre Drummond. And
What about Greg Monroe?
Greg Monroe's a power forward. He could do that.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
That's no question.
Might be.
I mean, Greg Monroe plays center, but Sean Marion, I wouldn't have an issue with that.
Okay.
I think he's second in defensive win shares all time for the Suns and 5th in offensive win shares, I believe. Someone can quote me on that, but or don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what it is. So I think that, I mean, that's who I had him 4th on my big board. Not I'm just gonna say it right here. So I actually had Stoudemire under it, so I'm glad that I was able to get him.
I had Amari 4 on my big board, and I really, really thought about putting Sean Marion over him, but I couldn't do it.
well, I'm glad this is working out so well for you guys because I'm not sure where I want to go now.
I know what I would
So
do, but I'm not you, so
You're not me.
nah, man,
Oh,
that ain't me.
I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna switch things up, and I'm going with Sweet D, Walter Davis at shooting guard.
Actually,
one
that's
of
exactly
the-
what I would have done.
Yeah, one of the all-time Suns greats in the Ring of Honor, all-time leading scorer, 6-time NBA All-Star, and Walter Davis was before my time, but I've come to realize how great he was. So I'm going with him as my second pick.
Okay.
And I'm back on the board, and I have no idea what I want to do. So you took KJ.
Yep.
So, real quick, while Chuck's looking at that, do we all have Barkley, Nash, and KJ as like our top 3?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought. And so I had as my next 3 were Marion, Stoudemire, and Walter Davis. So
Ooh, interesting.
So we're on the same page, David.
yeah, so
I'm not gonna reveal my big board because I might be shaking some things up.
if we just keep on going down the list of mine, then I'm just going to keep on revealing mine because so far it's just going down the list.
Interesting.
Okay, I don't know if this is quite the best route to go, but I'm going to do it just because I love the guy so much. At small forward, I'm going Eddie Johnson.
Oh, interesting.
So I got 2, 3, and 4 filled up now. Putting Eddie in at small forward, Davis in at shooting guard. Eddie put up 18 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists per game as a Sun, and he's my favorite commentator on the air right now, which may have a little influence in this decision. But I like Eddie there, and I just like how that fills out my lineup.
Wow. Finally differed a little bit.
Oh,
Finally differed a little bit. So you're going to actually have Eddie start. You're not going to put him in as your 6th man, even though...
nope.
All right.
I'm giving him the starting spot he deserves.
You know, I can deal with that. I am going to... Oh, shoot. Now I'm in a predicament. Because I thought I had an idea of where you were going, and then it just went completely out the window.
Nice. That's what you guys did to me, switching the draft rules up right before we started. So
We never decided.
Technically, it
on how
wasn't
would go.
right before we started. It was while we had already started.
while we were in the process of explaining it, yeah.
If you want, we could do. If we have time, we could do a linear one too, or maybe next episode or something, and just see how that would turn out.
I have a feeling it wouldn't change up that much.
That's
But it
true.
might have been.
Probably wouldn't.
Who knows?
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm actually going to go a little bit out of order on my big board, and I'm going to go with the Hawk. Connie Hawkins, a little bit,
Good call.
definitely more than a little bit before my time. big ABA star, averaged 20 points on the Suns, averaged rebounds, assists as well. I think it was, hold on one second. It was, like 10 rebounds-ish, it looks like. 9 rebounds, something like that. Hawk was the man. He's it's not one of, he's one of, but not the best power forwards that played for the Suns, which is a pretty stacked position, actually, for us, surprisingly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I love the Hawk, and I love watching old game of his, so I'm going to put him next to Marion in my forward spot.
Interesting. Okay.
Mitch, you're up.
So here's what I'm going to do. This might shake things up a little bit. Since I have 2 in a row, I am going to go Jason Kidd. So my guards are going to be Kevin Johnson and Jason Kidd. And then I'm going to go Larry Nance. Athleticism, dunking. His son went to the University of Wyoming and is going to have a great career, I think.
But he's a Laker now.
He is a Laker, but I still root for him. Actually, interesting story. I have never liked the Lakers, but some of my favorite players have played for the Lakers. I love Shaq, and I loved Shaq as a Laker, but I have never liked the Lakers. And now Larry Nance Jr. and Rob Sacre, who kind of counts.
Bobby Sacre, the GOAT.
Yeah, so I've liked a lot of players on the Lakers, but I've never liked that team. So yeah, my front court so far is Stoudemire and Larry Nance.
That's a very athletic front court.
Yes.
Too bad you don't have Steve Nash.
I know, but Jason Kidd is he'll do.
Kidd and KJ both put up great assist numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good backcourt. But I like my backcourt too because I'm picking Dan Marley.
Good call. Yeah. Good call.
I'm going with Thunder Dan, and he was great for the Suns. He was one of my favorite teams to go back and watch when I was first getting into the Suns was the early 90s teams with Chaka and Thunder Dan on there. I really like him putting up next to Nash. Him and Marion can take the bigger defensive loads from Nash, and I think it helps with a little bit of the explosiveness and open court for Hawkins to do a little bit more work.
Okay.
All right, now I'm going back to back, and this will fill out my starting 5. So I need a point guard, which you guys snatched the top 3. Not too happy about that.
Sorry.
Actually,
man,
in mine, the top 3 haven't technically been snatched yet.
Wow.
I'm just gonna say that.
Okay, well, how about this? I go Eric Bledsoe at point guard.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Wow.
Oh, do I want to do this at center or not?
Oh, you so want to.
I'm going with the big Shactus.
Do it.
Oh,
nice.
Man.
The big Shactus.
I loved Shaq in Phoenix.
All right, so my lineup can score some points. Shaq at center, Barkley power forward, Eddie Johnson at the 3, Walter Davis at 2, and Bledsoe at the point guard. David, you're up to fill out yours.
Wow. I'm still just kind of thrown off. My third guard is still on the table, but hopefully it won't be for long. I'm going to continue with a little bit of my smaller lineup, and I'm going Tom Chambers as starting center.
Ooh.
He's 6'10". He played power forward, I know. He played small forward a little bit. But I think in a little bit more of today's game, Tom Chambers would thrive at the 5 spot. He's got that mid-range jumper. He can do just about everything. I'm picking TC at center.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Okay, so these next 2 picks, I'm done after this. This is for 5 and 6. So I have my guards. I have my center in Amari. And I have Larry Nance. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go Alvin Adams, who, fun fact,
A.
he was picked 4 overall, just like where we are this year. So, going to go there. And he's 6'9". When he played, he was born in 1954. So, this was a while ago when he was playing, like the 70s. But his game would be a little bit different today, but still going there. 6'9", that's nice.
He still played
then
center
for
even
my-
back then, though. So
Right, he did. So
Yeah.
he'd be playing like 3 and 4 today. And so that's that. I think that'll work. And
Don't
then
say that to Bismarck Biombo.
the NBA is a positionless league. Let's go with that.
There you go.
Who do I want for my 6th man? Am I gonna go like best available, or am I gonna go like best to fit the role? Let's go best to fit the role. This is, some people might think this is insane, but I'm gonna say Leandro Barbosa because I think he was such a great 6th man on those 2000s teams, and I was rewatching some of those playoff games from like 04, 05, 06, and man, did I love Leandro Barbosa.
I like it.
my goodness, you guys, you guys. So I'm up for my 6th man, and I can either go with. So I'm not assuming, but I'm going guard. I'm going with a guard, but I have like 3 really good guards that I can choose from that are still on my list, and it's really tough. It's really, really tough for these 2 that I'm going with. I'm gonna go Paul Westphal.
That's who I was gonna fill mine with.
Paul Westphal was actually the 3rd or not the 3rd guard. He was the 4th guard. It went Nash, KJ, Walter Davis, then Westphal. I kind of decided to go. Of course, Marley was the next guard on there, so I didn't go Westphal right away. But they just had the 76 finals, that Game 5 on Fox Sports last night, Saturday night.
Oh,
And, I was watching a little bit more of him. Westphal was the man. Still is the man. And I don't mind being able to even go a little smaller on my team, or being able to jump between Marley and Westphal as a starter and 6th man on my team.
Interesting.
I like it. That's a good way to fill your 6th man spot for sure. So I'm also going guard to fill mine. Not too big about having Bledsoe as my point guard. I don't know. Wasn't expecting us to go double point guard that early in the draft, Mitch.
Sorry.
Should have gone Westphal.
Yeah. All right. So to fill it out, I think I'm going to go with the original son, Dick Van Arsdale. He's a Ring of Honor guy. He was on the team the first year the Suns came into existence. He stuck it out there for the rest of his career. Put up 17 points per game, about 3 rebounds, 3 assists. He's in that Suns Ring of Honor. That may have something to do with why he's making this list, but we're going with Van Arsdale to round it out.
These are solid teams.
So, David, do you have another guard that didn't get snatched up that you liked?
Yes, I did.
Who?
The
I have
one,
one too.
the only, Jeff Hornacek.
He was on my list. Yep, I had him on there.
Come on, man. You go with Barbosa over Hornacek? Come on.
I thought I was gonna pick Hornacek, but then I decided to go with the role and not best player available.
Horny could be a 6th man. He could be a 6th man,
but
no doubt.
I think Barbosa was our best 6th man. And when I think Hornacek, I think Jazz.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's very true. Stockton, Malone, and then Hornacek. And then maybe Byron Russell. And then maybe, what's his name? Big old center. I can't think of his name. Mark Eaton, maybe? Is that who I'm thinking of? I don't know.
I don't know.
That's getting back into those 90s pretty deep.
Was it Mark?
When
Eaton?
you, I can't remember. Or is it Greg Ostertag? Greg Ostertag.
I was gonna say,
Remember him?
wasn't Mark Eaton a little bit before?
I think he was early 90s, maybe even late 80s when he was rocking it for the Jazz. But I want to say Greg Ostertag. He had he looked like Big Country Bryant Reeves. They were kind of doppelgangers.
So, Mitch, because I think your board was a little bit different.
It was
Who
quite
were
different.
some guys that you had on there that didn't get picked up?
Let's see here. I had Raja Bell on my list.
Hey, I
actually.
did too.
Oh, nice. I had Joe Johnson on my list. I had Boris Diaw on my list.
Skinny Boris Diaw.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I did. And the very last guy on my list, and this was pure nostalgia, was Kurt Thomas at center.
Kurt Thomas.
Because I loved that team so much, and so I had to put the whole starting five.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, on mine there were only 4 guys that didn't get picked up, and that was Horny, Cliff Robinson.
That's a
I
good
had,
one.
and then I had Rajah Bell and Joe Johnson as well.
I had Paul Silas, too.
I had Paul Silas, and then I scratched him out because I'm dumb. So
I have actually a couple current guys. Well, not current, but recent guys on mine that I was considering for a 6th man role. Jared Dudley, just because.
Okay. Yeah.
see,
Love
if we
Dudley.
would have been doing like a full or like a 7-man or like 8-man rotation, I would have considered doing Dudley, but with just a 6th man, I didn't even put him on my list.
Right.
Yeah, and then with how weak the Suns are at center as a team over its entire career, I threw on Gortat.
Oh.
He put
The
on
Polish hammer.
13 and 9 per game as a Sun. That might be statistically the 3rd or 4th best center stats on the team.
Yeah, Gortat was good. I really liked him when he was on the team. I had as my only true center on my board was Alvin Adams. So that like actually played center.
Right.
So I decided to just go with forwards. I figured that there were a couple of guys who were tall enough to where they could actually play a little bit of center. And that's why I went with TC.
That was really a challenge for this too, was thinking about these guys from like the 70s, 80s, 90s playing today, because the game has changed so much.
Yeah, I tried to definitely take that into account with where I was going and how I was going with my team. I mean, when I started off with Nash and Marion, I thought that was enough, that if I got a little bit of spacing around him, that I would be able to go with Hawk fine, and he could basically play his game and not worry about any of the analytics of today as much.
Right.
And I mean, Marley could do kind of everything, so
That's true.
I'm a little concerned with the balance of Mitch's roster, though.
Yeah. It's
We
a
got
little
KJ,
unbalanced.
Kid. Like, who are you playing at small forward?
That's a good question. I was thinking Nance would have to play small forward, and then Alvin Adams would have to play the 4, and Stoudemire would have to play the 5.
see, I think Alvin Adams would play the 5 and Stoudemire would play the 4. I mean, Stoudemire is more of a power forward than a center. He just played center for us.
That's true. We could go that way.
And
too.
Stoudemire is actually shorter than Alvin Adams, so I think Stoudemire is only like 6'7" without shoes on.
I always think
That's
of him
crazy.
as bigger.
Yeah,
What do they list him at? 6'9", though?
I think he's listed at 6'9", but I'm pretty sure that when he was measured without shoes, that he's only like 6'7".
Wow.
That's why, like, our small ball lineup in the 7 seconds or less was pretty small. There, especially with like still centers, more traditional centers being played. So
I see Amari listed as 6'10", 245.
yeah,
See,
I
I was
I don't
thinking
know if he's
6'10",
6'10".
but maybe he's not.
think
And when you can jump that high and dunk like that, you don't need to be 6'10" to be playing his style of basketball.
that was the great thing about him, was that he had that mid-range jumper and he was so athletic that it just didn't even matter. Like, he didn't have to be 6'10". He could just go flying around.
Oh, I miss those pick and rolls with Nash so
me
much.
Too. Me too.
Oh, man, those were some good days. I hope we get back to those soon.
Me too.
I think it'll be sooner rather than later.
I do too.
Yeah,
actually.
we're due. We're due.
We are. We just need that super athletic roll man.
Like a Deontay
right.
Davis or Henry Ellenson.
Or Marquise Chris.
Marquise Chris.
Or, yeah, who knows? It could be this year, it could be next year, it could be the year after, could be in a trade, could be a free agent signing, who knows?
That's all right. So that was a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
let us know who you think has the best roster here.
Let's
Our Twitter is...
let's read them
What,
off one
David?
more time and then
Yeah, good call, good call.
Okay.
I'll start off. At point guard, I have Bledsoe. At the 2, I have Walter Davis. At the 3, I have Eddie Johnson. At the 4, I have Charles Barkley. At the 5, I have Shaq. And then off the bench, I have Dick Van Arsdale, the original son.
Yeah, I have Nash at point guard. I got Dan Marley at shooting guard. I've got Sean Marion at small forward. Connie Hawkins, the Hawk, as my power forward. Tom Chambers playing some small ball 5, and Paul Westphal as my 6th man.
And I like to think of mine as position fluid, but I'll still list them by position. So the way I would run it, I suppose, is at point guard, Jason Kidd. Shooting guard would be Kevin Johnson. The 3 would be Larry Nance. The 4, we'd run Amari Stoudemire. And the 5, Alvin Adams. And then Leandro Barbosa off the bench because of nostalgia.
And that's fair. So yeah, let us know who had the best roster and who had the worst roster. I think we'd be more interested in hearing about that. So hit us up on Twitter. It's at SunnyInPHXPod. And then if you want to use email, it's sunnyinphxpod@gmail.com. And we really hope we hear from you. So let's end the show like we always do. It's time for David's Comic Book Corner and Mitch's Face Melter Metal Mayhem Monday.
Ooh, I like that.
Let's start it with David.
All right, so I can already dig this already. There was this is a more of a comic than a graphic novel, but it's 80 pages for $3, so might as well be a graphic novel. It is DC Rebirth. It came out 2 weeks ago. It is the new... It's kind of just letting you guys know what is going on in DC Comics, what everything is set up to kind of be, and all of that, and it returns a fan favorite and has a pretty good twist at the end. So 80 pages, $3. It's definitely worth it. Check it out.
Right on, Mitch. Go ahead.
Okay, first, I had to look away because I almost started laughing from last week's plug where David was talking about Ed Brubaker, which is apparently the name of Charlie's dog, and that still makes me laugh. Okay, so now that this segment involves the word face melting, and I need to redeem myself from plugging something that teenage girls and me listen to. I'm gonna plug probably the heaviest album I have on my phone, and that's The Cleansing by Suicide Silence. It came out in 2008.
That sounds heavy.
It's super heavy. It's pretty it's very classic deathcore. My favorite songs, No Pity for a Coward is probably my favorite Suicide Silence song ever. Bludgeoned to Death, I really like. Eyes Sewn Shut is a great song. I think those are my 3 favorites. The Price of Beauty is pretty good. But yeah, No Pity for a Coward and Bludgeoned to Death are a tier above the rest on that album, I think. And also, go on YouTube and watch the Mitch Luker Memorial. After he died in the car accident, they did a memorial show where a bunch of metal artists played Suicide Silence songs with the rest of the band. And Phil Bozeman from Whitechapel does an insane version of Unanswered, and his vocals are just off the charts. So go listen to that. But yeah, The Cleansing by Suicide Silence.
Cool. And I'm thinking about just turning mine into a Game of Thrones segment, but I realized after the season is over and before the next book comes out, I mean, things would start to get weird because I'd be talking about all the crazy fan theories, and some are just ridiculous. But a lot of people seem to like subscribe to these and believe them, so maybe I'll do that, but I might stay away from that. And with that, I don't want to give away any spoilers in case you haven't read the books or you're a few episodes behind, so I don't want to do that. But I will say in tonight's episode, after we record here, there are some opportunities in tonight's episode for some really awesome speeches from some book characters that we know from reading the books, who are going to be hopefully making some appearances in this episode. And these are just like great dialogues from these guys. And like when you read them, like your spine tingles a little bit. It's really intense, heavy stuff, and like it gets you really excited for what's about to come. So I expect to see some of those in this episodes, and I'm really excited. And I wish you two would start watching so you could nerd out with me a little bit.
I'll pass.
Oh, David, you just stick to those comic books and graphic novels.
I'm gonna stick to what cool kids do, and not that nerdy Game of Thrones.
You're backwards, my friend. You're backwards. All right, but I think that'll do it for this week. Be sure to check us out on social media. Follow us on Twitter under the handle @SunnyandPHXPod. Find us on Facebook under the name Phoenix Suns Multiple Sources. Hit us up through email with questions or suggestions at sunnyandphxpod@gmail.com. Head over to our website at multiplesources.net/Phoenix Suns and the entire Multiple Sources blog and podcast network. The draft is just a couple weeks away, so look forward to some heavy draft coverage in next week's episode. And be sure to check out our player prospect articles on the website. Thanks for listening, and go Suns.